Okay, rivalry week. I guess we haven't said that for a little over 3 years, and so season has flown by in a way. In a way, it's taken forever. But anyways, it's time for the in-state rivalry. Um, our guys were both in bye weeks, both schools in bye weeks, and so certainly seasons have gone completely different directions than what was anticipated at the onset. I guess that shows that those preseason rankings and thoughts really don't mean a whole lot. And you got to go out and play the games. And things happen during the course of the season to alter the paths of teams. And so that's what happened this year. But our guys are really excited about the game, obviously. Good to get back home to Rice Eccles. Had a really good productive bye week last week, and we'll resume practice today. They've had 3 days off, Friday, Saturday, Sunday off, and so anxious to get back on the field today and resume preparations and get ready for the game on Saturday. So questions? Okay, Justin, go ahead.
Okay, where has our identity gone? We've been known for our physicality and attention to detail for decades, and it seems like we've lost that in the last month. How have you addressed this issue during the bye week?
I would agree that we're not as physical this year as we typically have been, and you really gauge that, at least we gauge it, by how you run the ball and how you defend the run, and we haven't been as good at that this year. Tough to pinpoint one exact reason for that. But we haven't been our usual selves in that regard, and that has been our identity as well. And so they go hand in hand. And the ability to run the ball and play action pass off of that's been our formula for success for a lot of years. And the ability on defense to turn teams one-dimensional by taking away the run and forcing them to throw has not surfaced this year either. So that's certainly been a big part of our issue this year. Issues. Yeah.
You had talked about last week, Brandon and Isaac were splitting reps. Have you made a determination for this week?
Yeah, we've got a good plan right now, and we'll keep it to ourselves, obviously, but we have a plan going forward. And, I guess nothing's ever set in stone, but we feel like we've got a situation that is best for us and gives us the best chance to win.
When you put in Brandon the last game, you said that you were looking for a spark.
Mm-hmm.
And I was wondering, was it something that he showed you that led to, hey, let's give him a shot, maybe in practice, as opposed to, well, the other not working with the other one, so let's just try him?
A little of both. We weren't very productive offensively. Haven't been productively much this season since the first couple games, but it was a little of both. And just thought that Brandon had been practicing extremely well as the number 2 guy, and just thought, given the circumstances, it made sense to give him a chance and see what he could do. So both things are correct.
Kyle, this is the first time in a while that Utah has been the underdog heading into the BYU-Utah matchup. How is it different in terms of preparation, how the players view the game, how you view the game, and is it different having that chip on your shoulder heading into the game this week?
Well, typically, historically, we've been pretty good in that situation, with the chip on our shoulder, as you said, mentality. I'm not sure, the point spread doesn't really affect our thinking or how we go about our business or anything like that, other than maybe feeling like, that's unusual for us. You're right. It's unusual, and so it's something that hasn't occurred for quite a while, but that's not our driving force or driving motivating factor.
Brandon Rose has been here for a few years. How have you seen his development over his time at Utah?
He's done well, and he was really doing well last year in addition, but had that injury that knocked him out for 6 or 8 weeks, which really set him back. And then didn't get much of anything going last year because of that. Spring ball, had some reps. Isaac got a bunch of the reps as well, but Brandon has made steady and continual progress since he's been in the program. Is playing his best football right now as a Ute. Unless in practice, there's not a big body of work to to gauge it off in game, but in a game situation. But he's done a nice job in practice and continues to get better. And that's why you coach him is to hopefully make him better.
BYU's obviously improved quite a bit year to year. Who or what is the strength of that offense?
I'd say the QB is the catalyst. You look at individual rushers, individual receivers. There's nobody that just jumps out statistically. It's a collaborative effort, but the quarterback is the catalyst, in my opinion, and playing good football. He's amongst the league leaders in pass efficiency. He's made some just a bunch of really timely runs during the course of the season, runs that have made big difference maker type of runs. And so I would say that is without a doubt the guy that makes it all go. But again, he's got a good supporting cast, but again, nobody is just jumping out on the stat line. I don't know if they have a top 10 receiver or a top 10 running back, but you don't need to. You don't have to do that to be successful. And then as a team, very opportunistic football team. They're playing good complementary defense, offense to each other. Defense is taking the ball away like crazy. Offense is protecting the ball. They're number 2 in the country, in the conference in turnover margin. So they're doing a really good job playing off each other offensively and defensively.
Kyle, kind of going off the question that Justin asked about identity, is it harder in this NIL era to kind of stick to your identity, knowing that you kind of have to appease guys, or what's your approach on that?
Much harder, and it's. I think there's a lot of teams across the country that are feeling and going through similar situations. When you, 4, 5, 6 years ago, before the advent of the portal, whenever that was, you might replace 25 guys out of 125 on your team. Now you're replacing 45 plus, and the culture. I don't know if diluted is the right word, but it's, before you had 100 guys teaching 25 guys how we do our thing, and now it's almost a 50-50 split, the new guys as opposed to the guys that have been in the program. But it's not unique to us. It's across the country, and I think that's why you're seeing a lot of different results throughout the country, because it has had an effect, and it will continue to have an effect. And whoever handles it best, and it's almost coming down to a sheer talent thing. That sheer talent is. I mean, who's one in the country? Oregon. Who's number 1 in the country in NIL budget? Oregon. Who's number 2 and 3? Probably Georgia and Ohio. I mean, it's starting to fall right in line. If you remember, I said this a couple of years ago that things are going to start mirroring very soon. In the top 25, the NIL budgets, and to a certain extent, that's happening.
Kyle, in the vein of the portal and just how you build your program, obviously you've not had a lot of turnover in comparison to other programs in terms of the foundational pieces that you've had.
Well, we did have 45 new guys this year.
True, yeah.
On the roster, so that's darn near half.
Given, I guess, the impacts of that, has it changed, I guess, the way you see your coaching philosophy and the way this year has gone? Has it changed the way that you might approach it in the future?
I think for certain. And, you got guys that come to the program and are here for a year or two and either leave, or you've got grad transfers that only had a year or 2 left. And so there's just, it's constantly in flux. And I don't want to say it's like you're hiring mercenaries every year, but it's a situation where, again, you got to collect as much talent as quickly as you can, and then hope it gels and comes together and you get results. And it is a different approach and different strategy than when you had guys just marinate in your program for 4 and 5, 6 years, and it is different. But again, they're not making excuses or complaining, because the entire country is going through the same thing. I just feel that maybe our culture and our the way we did things gave us an edge back, when that could be possible to have happen.
This rivalry series became dominant when you guys went to the Pac-12 and they went independent. Before that, I think if you go back like the last 20 years, I believe the Utes had like 11-9 advantage, right? And then there was separation.
I think it's more than that, over 20 years before.
Just 20, yeah, like
so
from
30 years ago.
2010. Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
okay.
Yeah, right.
Yeah,
Right.
I mean, it's been cyclical in a way.
But I'm wondering, now that you're back in the same conference, at least for the time being, would it surprise you if it got more even like it was in the Mountain West days at the end?
It could very well. I don't know. Time will tell. I mean, why speculate on speculation? But yeah, but Who knows? I mean, who knows where college? Who knows if we'll be in the same conference in 2 years? I mean, who knows? So I can't really give you a good answer other than being in the same conference. Certainly, I don't want to say it just is an equalizer of sorts, I guess you could say, and especially from a recruiting standpoint.
Yeah, to kind of go back to the transfer portal, obviously with quarterbacks like the NFL, they're starting to become the highest paid position
Oh yeah.
in college football. In terms of a roster building perspective and what you've seen from Isaac, has there been any pause, I guess, from what you've seen from his play to potentially view him as the future of this program moving forward? I know that's a very broad question, but just curious based off of your perspective.
Well, just generally speaking, we got a ton of belief in Isaac, and we think he's got a big upside. We didn't know he'd be thrust into the starting role a game and a half into the season. The idea and the plan was, hopefully Cam stays healthy, Isaac gets sporadic playing time along the way and continues to develop, really takes over in spring as the number one guy. I mean, everything was accelerated so much, and it's almost, I don't want to say it's unfair to Isaac because there are other true freshmen in the country that are thrust into starting roles, one reason or another. But the bottom line is we have a lot of belief in Isaac, and it'll be, important to see how the year finishes out. He's had nearly 400 snaps. I think he's had 397 snaps at quarterback so far this year, and that's far more than we anticipated him having. But silver lining is he's going to be that much further ahead in the future because of these snaps that he's had.
You've mentioned no wholesale changes offensively, obviously, with the midseason change. What is the possible dynamic shift with the quarterback room with Mike Bajakian taking over, whether his play calling or how it matches up with the quarterback skill set or even their relationship with Mike? I wonder how that quarterback dynamic is with him.
Well, I think it was not a huge impact. I mean, Andy Ludwig coached the quarterbacks and coordinated for years, and so it's not like it's uncommon for that to happen. That's very commonplace for coordinators to be the QB coach. Now it's going to become less common going forward because when they change the rules, like I said, this year everyone's added to their staff to free up the coordinators in a lot of instances. But the quarterbacks have a really good relationship with Mike. He's been their guy since last spring, and it's as far as the way they operate, it's all status quo and how it has been. Other than he is now putting the game plan together and calling the plays.
Looking at BYU, you have a lot of guys that were formerly on your staff running the program there.
To say the least. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
What do you feel like they've done, I guess, well to find success this season with such a cohesive roster? It seems like all cylinders are working for them. I mean, what has kind of been the outside perspective from you?
You'd have to ask them for the real answer to that, but I know that they've got 5, 6, 7, 8, maybe 10 guys when you count admins and all the peripheral positions that were once here, and so they're doing a really nice job, obviously, and I just would say that they are hitting on all cylinders, like you said, and again playing off each other. You're hard pressed to find a team in the country that does a better job of complementary football than what they're playing right now.
Given the fact Jay Hill played here and worked for you, when you look at his defense, how much will it help during the game? How much are you looking at a lot of what you did and what he's thinking? And how much has he evolved in the years since he's moved on from here?
Well, he's evolved, but the basic principles, the basic fundamentals, the basic philosophy is still intact. But Jay has done a terrific job putting his own stamp on it, just like Morgan's done a terrific job putting his own stamp on the defense here. But the basic, the building blocks are the same, and that's really what wins games. Blocking, tackling, how you defeat blocks, all that stuff is what wins and loses games. It's not plays, it's players and how they fundamentally operate, and he's got those guys doing a great job.
In regards to Isaac getting those almost 400 snaps, and I guess with whoever starts against BYU, is all experience good experience, or do you have to make sure that you're helping build a quarterback's confidence by protecting them well, getting them in the right situations, play call wise, et cetera?
Sure, I would say most all experience is mostly good experience. How about that? But you can, there are situations where a guy goes in and becomes shell shocked because it's happening so fast and he's not ready for it. and it can do some damage for a period of time. I'm not saying that's what happened to Isaac, but I've seen that happen in the past to quarterbacks where, and other positions for that matter, but mostly as a quarterback. I mean, it's the most important position in football, hands down. It's not even close. But have seen where guys got thrust in there too early, and even at the pro level, that's happened. And so, yeah, you can see that happening. But most of the time, experience is experience, and you're learning and growing along the way, regardless of results. But if it's too extreme or too dramatic in the wrong direction, that can have a long-lasting effect.
You've been very candid about the
Always candid. Yeah, every day of my life, candid. It's a good way to describe it.
You've
Okay.
been very candid about the conference realignment race and just how you think the next 3 to 5 years are going to shape, how there's a potential Power 2 or a Super League. How do you feel like winning in the state of Utah's program is right now for the future of that potential Power 2? And obviously that's speculative, but
Yeah.
Is there more pressure on you as a head coach knowing the stakes of those futures?
Well, there's always pressure on a head coach, regardless of circumstances. It doesn't matter if you're a Pop Warner coach. I mean, you've got pressure, and you feel it. And if you're all in, then you care. And it, again, doesn't matter the level. But I would say it's more a body of the work of the last 20 years, 30 years, more so than 1 year. But when that realignment, and I think most of the TV contracts in about 5 years are up, and I think that's when it's really, the stuff's going to hit the fan, and things are going to, unless they accelerate it. They could accelerate it, and it could happen sooner. But to answer your question, I think you're going to look big picture. There's so many things involved. Not just your win-loss record overall, although that'll be of big importance. How big is your stadium, your following, and I mean just how, just your overall state of the program and what you bring to the table. That's really what it boils down to, is what do you bring to the table as a program, as a fan base, to make yourself attractive to be in that Power 2 or whatever it ends up being.